Welcome back to Thinking Out Loud with Cali-Ny, and today I'm here with
Ali, peace of mind.
Ali, Peace of Mind. Today the topic we are going to be discussing is the term bare minimum. Alright? Okay, so the term bare minimum I don't feel is a universal term. I think that it has different meanings for everybody. It's an individual term for sure.
Very diverse, I would say, indeed. But there's so many different versions of bare minimum.
Yeah.
As we said before, we've talked about this before, but we have said there are different versions of it, like depression, basically relationship, family relationships, you know what I'm saying? It's just different ones that you have to take from, and you have to see what's actually bare minimum, okay?
Right, so it's often used as a common term or applied as if it was a universal term. Like for someone who may struggle with depression, the bare minimum is not the same for someone who does not struggle with depression. For you and I, if you're not struggling with depression, we get out of bed. That's bare minimum. Brush teeth.
Seriously, that's kinetic energy, guys.
Wash face, all that. But for someone who does struggle with depression, that may not be the case for them. It may be harder for them to get out of bed, and bare minimum for them is breathing, maybe.
And no laugh about it. I'm not trying to laugh at depression, but in all seriousness, yes, that's very much of a different bare minimum. If you had a friend, let's say your friend was depressed, right? Mm-hmm. She came to you about her cutting herself, her doing this, her doing that to herself. She expects you to take action. She expects you to listen and hear her and actually comfort her. And that's bare minimum regardless of comfort. That's what it is. But she wants you to do more than that if she's telling you. Do you understand? She's trying to understand. She's trying to put her emotions on you and make it your emotions. Not in a manipulative way, but she wants you to understand where she's coming from, and she wants you to provide. She wants you to help. You know what I'm saying? It's not too much, but sometimes you can have things of your own. You know, there's certain environments that can limit you to certain things with helping your friends. Like, she just expects so much, like that, like a relationship. She expects so much, but that's one of the bare minimums that they can see.
I mean, people who emotionally depend on you expect things from you, and those things that they expect are, in their minds, what bare minimum is. Now, that's usually not the case for most people, or what their term of bare minimum is not the case for most people, because they have their own lives.
Exactly.
Right? So you having to move your life around to comfort someone or make time for someone or do something for someone, be there for someone, may not necessarily be bare minimum.
Especially in your eyes, if you've had that your whole life, and I do mean your whole life, like your whole life, that's what you adapted to, that's what you always know. And when you cut something off, that's the main source of your social day-to-day life. It's really hard, and the other person can't seem to understand that. And if they do, that's good, but other people can't seem to understand that because of the way they are. You know, extrovert, introvert. That's basically what Clay said before. And that's I think that's the biggest problem with bare minimum. Literally the expectation of bare minimum and how it's being put on you. Okay?
Right, so that goes into like expectations for someone who may be introverted or expectations for someone who may be extroverted, as in bare minimum. So for someone who isn't social, it might be bare minimum to be home all the time and stop and make romantic plans and come up with surprises and have an anniversary every
Right.
single month. Extroverted, that usually wouldn't be bare minimum for them. That might be a big thing for them. Usually people who are extroverted, their batteries are filled by people and social connections and social interactions, as to where extroverts are different or the opposite. They usually get drained by people and so on and so forth. So just like the bare minimum for someone who is introverted may be harder for someone who's extroverted to comply to. Okay, and then you start to think, oh, she wants to change me. Oh, he wants to change me, or why won't they just
Let me be who I am. You accepted me for who I was from the get-go.
or why is it so hard for her or him to not talk to these people?
Exactly.
And it's not personal. It's not like
ill-intended.
right. There's no ill intent. It's not like they don't want to make time for you or so on and so forth. But your bare minimum is not the same as their bare minimum. So the term bare minimum going around and being coined so often these days in reference to relationships and why someone's not doing something or someone's talking to someone or won't stop talking to someone is kind of crazy.
I feel like I think a lot of to blame for bare minimum is childhood. Childhood, I feel like, has a lot. It pitches in a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
If you've been treated a certain type of way.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Exactly. If you've been treated a certain type of way, or if you've been, like, shown a certain thing and you just didn't like or you did like,
mm-hmm.
you would know what you would want more further. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But you never overthink about what you want. You overthink about what you need to do to get it.
Mm-hmm.
And you always look forward to surrounding yourself with that, and you always stay in a comfortable zone instead of stepping out of that bubble.
For sure.
And I think that's the best. That's the best part about it, because you're learning yourself. You're learning about yourself more, but at the same time, it's bad because you're not trying to step out your.
You're not adapting.
Exactly. You're not exploring anything.
Right. Okay.
You're just gonna stay there.
Right, in your comfort zone.
It's interesting. It's definitely interesting.
For sure. Like someone who grew up cleaning every day, couldn't sit down. Someone who was scrubbing floors with toothbrushes and cooking for kids and whatnot and so on and so forth. People who had to grow up earlier than other people did expect more as their bare minimum than, say, the people who didn't, the people who got fed, the people who got to sit on the couch, the people who, or couldn't do those things, or the people who didn't have to do those things. Their bare minimum is different.
When you show different, it's like, wow, you actually want me to adapt to this? You want me to feel this way? You actually want me to actually accommodate? Am I settling for bare minimum?
Settling, yes.
Oh my gosh, just like, am I settling for bare minimum? Let that be known. If a person asks, am I settling for bare minimum? Am I settling for little? Am I settling for nothing? Please question your relationship with that person. Question the dynamic of the situation. Question everything around it.
Question your ability to understand and be understanding and considerate.
Oh my goodness.
Even the difference between male and female, or the stereotypical male and female, the most common male and female, they have different standards for bare minimum.
Exactly.
Like, oftentimes in a two-parent household or a one-parent household, the daughter was not favored by the mother, but the son was. So, of course, they're going to grow up with different expectations. Like, the older siblings always expect their younger siblings to go through what they went through. Bare minimum.
Never.
It
was
never
never
happens.
that. It was
never
never that.
happens.
It was never that.
We get caught up in the differences and what we expect from each other because of what was expected from us and what we had to become, that we forget to be considerate of the difference between us and another person.
Exactly. The beauty of the person is the beauty of it and what we had and have. Because you can actually lose it, and it's quite sad when you lose it. Then you'll be thinking to yourself, you'll be like, damn, I actually had it good a little bit.
For sure. Absolutely.
But then again, you'd be like, well, he still did this though. Still did that.
It's not worth losing a person because they won't adapt to your lifestyle, or they don't adapt as fast as you would like them to because of what you consider to be the bare minimum.
Exactly. So, listen to this. A whole lifestyle of bare minimum. A whole lifestyle of bare minimum. And for you to meet a person, and that bare minimum is not what they expected, or it's not something that they equip with everything, you should know this. You should know it's okay. It's okay. to the king. They don't know. They don't have knowledge of it, and if they don't want to move forward with your bare minimum, it was over with.
And your bare minimum might not be the right bare minimum. Your bare minimum, the bare minimum that was expected of you, how you grew up and what you expect from someone, may not be fair. It may not have been fair to you. Therefore, it's probably not fair for you to expect from somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Like Clay said, I can't repeat it word for word, but definitely that's what you said. Like, I feel like people should take that to heart. I feel like you should definitely take that to heart and actually, like, think about it. Just sit down, no phone, no nothing. Just think about it. Like, swear to you, think about it. It's really good for the mind. I promise you. Your critical thinking will go extremely crazy. Astronomically crazy.
Astronomically crazy.
Astronomically.
See, personally, I think we should drop the term bare minimum and use maybe these are my expectations and my non-negotiables.
Yeah. When I heard that, I agreed totally, because it was like bare minimum, bare minimum, bare minimum. Like, what?
It's more like a trend than something you actually mean.
Exactly.
Like, people don't know the meaning of it when they say it, or they use it against you, or it's
You're
like
basically talking out of your ass. That's what I think. You're like
using it as a tool to like win. Something that doesn't need to be won. Exactly. It's not a competition. It's not a game. It's not.
If you're in it with a person, you're in it together. If you're in it with yourself, you're in it together. Listen, me, myself, and I, we have a lot in common, and we have a lot that we go back and forth about.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So basically, with me coming to terms of my expectations of myself, I hold myself to a very, very high standard. And sometimes I am depressed about it, but that's what it is, because not a lot of people will understand you.
Absolutely. It does cause, like, often it causes an internal fight with oneself. It's like what you expect from yourself, and then like the reality of yourself as a human being. Your brain versus your mind, the logic versus the feeling. Okay, see, because I learned a lot about the psychological responses of a brain in just, natural day-to-day life. And personally, just because I understand these things, I would expect for myself not to fall victim to these things. Like, for example, when someone is talking to another person and one of those persons don't speak, one of those people don't speak back, or it makes the other person want to speak longer. I understand this as a psychological phenomenon. Yet and still, I still can end up being this person who ends up speaking longer or wanting to speak longer, but then I'll see it for the psychological phenomenon that it was while it's going on and wonder why I'm still falling victim to this phenomenon. So then for a while, I'll go back and forth with myself with the logic and the human in me, the fact that I fell for it or I did it. Even though I know why we do it, I held myself to a higher standard, which is an unfair standard because it is inhumane. It's an inhumane standard. It's to not fall for psychological.
It's the how you say it? It's not deharmonizing. It's not demonetizing.
Dehumanizing?
Dehumanizing you. It's dehumanizing everything, especially the habits that you have.
And that's having a bare minimum for yourself.
We're getting deeper.
It also happens often a lot in religion, due to religion and how you perceive religion, or how you perceive your religious text, or what you were told by your religious leaders and blah, and whatnot. I know a lot of Christians who have a lot of self-hatred and self-arguments and self-conflict because the human in them, wants something and they're told they're not supposed to do it, or somebody else translates it another way, and then you don't know which one is right. So then you're back and forth. And then you're worried about living by the bare minimum of maybe the Bible. And then you punishing yourself for the human things you do because you don't understand exactly what it is you're trying to live by.
Exactly. I feel like biblical-wise, guys, this is why every single Christian literally compares themselves to another Christian. Let me give you an example, okay? I was literally, this was a couple months back. I was with my friend, or whatever you want to call it, party or whatever. I was with my friend, right?
Yeah.
And And there was this Christian, and they were talking about this other Christian. You feel me? And they were like, well, that's not very Christian-like. And you know, they're basically comparing. And it's like, that's not very Christian-like. And in my head, I didn't tell him. Like, but in my head, I'm like, why would you compare and contrast yourself to that person? You guys are literally the same religion. I feel like all y'all make mistakes. You know, every single one of y'all do. You know, regardless of how perfect you want to be or how righteous you want to be for God. I mean, like, you guys are still imperfect. So sinners, like, I've seen this before. It was like sinners judging sinners for being sinners. And so with you doing the same thing that everyone else is doing is out, you can't really say anything for you being a Christian. Okay, you can't really have a say so in that. That's not very Christian like. You can't say that because what you're doing is not very Christian like if that's the case. And I can't judge you. Okay, I can't judge you, but based off biblical evidence, that's not something you should be taking in consideration. It's very much criticism, and to a certain extent, that's basically what you're kind of doing, but you're actually judging because of the action being bestowed upon.
And you're using the Bible to stand above somebody else, to put yourself in a higher position than somebody else, when really what you're doing is holding someone to an unfair standard of your own term of bare minimum, or how you translated biblical text of bare minimum.
And that's something that I find very interesting, if anything, especially with religion. Okay, Scientology is not religion, let that be known, guys. It's a cult. But I'm just saying, religion-wise, Catholic, Muslim, you know, all religion, I'm not going to say. I'm very much not cultured on that topic fully. But any religion, regardless, it's basically a judgmental way of a good life. It's, if you think about it, it really is. You set rules. You disobey the rules. I still forgive you, though. But you have to acknowledge what you've done and say sorry. Because of the fact that even though forgiveness is scary, it's a gift at the same time.
For sure.
Exactly. So that's why you have to flip it around. You have to actually understand what you were doing wrong. And once you understand what you did wrong, come back to me. Go ahead and say sorry to me. And I'll see. And I'll see if I'll forgive you regardless because you're my child. But still, go ahead. Do that. That's basically your wisdom right there. That's your wisdom all the way. I ain't gotta say nothing. You feel bad already.
Yeah.
Through your body.
I feel like the universal bare minimum is being a good person. And I feel like that's one of the only universal bare minimums that there is.
Right.
And even for religious texts, I feel like they have their own set of standards and non-negotiables. Like once again with the Bible, you know, they have their set of standards and they have their non-negotiables.
Exactly. And all you have to do sometimes is actually respect it. Just respect this a religion. Now, this is a tricky part, guys. Hear me out, okay? So with religion texts, okay, I'm gonna slide out of it, but in religion texts, okay, Christians literally, I'm not gonna say discriminate, but the other religions than a Christian, they very much dislike because it's very much propaganda or blasphemy, as you say, blasphemy. And so that's when it comes in of them talking about the gospel, right? And people can see, oh, you're trying to change my mindset, you're trying to see my perspective, and it's more of like, no, you don't have to, but I'm trying to get you in the kingdom. That's what they're trying to do, right? But in certain, like in society, that's very much normalized as like, oh no, you're manipulating, you're conniving, you're deceiving, da da da.
Yeah.
When it's not that, guys. Please, in any religious
order.
Yeah, okay, in any religious order, that is not what it is, okay? You can be free to do what you want, okay? It's not from right from wrong. It's just, that's the standard of it. Don't take it as if what I just said, manipulating, conniving, deceiving. Please don't take it as that. Yeah.
I think people who follow their religions and spread the words have more than likely they have the best interest. You know, they go at it with thinking they're doing the right thing, and some people are, but some people aren't equipped to go about it in the correct way always. But moving out of religion, we're gonna move into schools, the scholastic systems, and their bare minimums. I honestly feel like they should get rid of standardized tests so that schools can start teaching what they're supposed to teach instead of teaching to pass the test. Teaching to pass the test, like, people learn in different ways, and we know this by now. Mm-hmm. Some people are visual learners, some people are auditorial learners, some people are more hands-on and blasé whatnot. Everybody is different. Now, you got 400 kids that you're only teaching them visually and auditorially. That's not going to work. Mm-hmm. And you expect them to all end up at the same place mentally.
Mm-hmm. Definitely not going to work. And, I feel like you were going to say something. I thought you were going to be like, well, teaching kids just to pass the test, that's not cool.
It's not. Of course. It's stupid. It's so... Schools make it to where they're only teaching them to pass this test so that they can maintain their status quo. Okay? Mm-hmm. So they can keep their numbers, so they can have the highest numbers of test passers.
Of everything. See how you excel in life. Like, it's just outrageous. If you look at the people who are world leaders today, or who are a big influence on the world, they weren't really called the smartest people in the...
For real.
They weren't called the smartest people in the class. I'm not going to lie with you. I mean, like, if we're being honest with each other... Fucking Tyler Perry, you know Tyler Perry?
Yeah, of course.
Bro didn't have the best education.
Absolutely.
Okay, Tyler Perry didn't have the best education. Albert Einstein, yeah, well, that nigga, he had a lot going on with him. You know what I'm saying? Ended up being the smartest scientist of all time. Mm-hmm. You feel me? Like, there's just so many world leaders who
didn't use the scholastic system to become who they were.
Exactly. There's certain people who can get, like, how do you say, advantage. People who have the advantage of the scholar system is the only people who actually, like, become in sports. Think about it. Just think about it. Everyone in school. Mm-hmm. Everyone in school. It's either basketball, football, track, you know, all the main sports.
Swimming. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying, basically. How have you seen a person who's actually been to school, like, and actually finished out, become the most successful person ever? And it's not bare minimum of that. It's not like there's a little percentage. There's a lot, but majority of them said you don't need school.
Yeah. They
literally looked back on their and they were like, nah, you don't even need school, to be honest. I would have taught my child basic math things, you know what I'm saying? Mathematics. You don't need anything. You don't need any of that. If you want to seek for more knowledge, I understand. Go ahead and do so.
And, like, college students who are learning a specific class, like a doctor of some sort, say you're in class to become an anesthesiologist, you don't really learn anesthesiology until you're on the job. It's completely different when you're on the job versus when you're in college learning. Secondly, I do understand that the school system, the dude said he was in the business of creating employees, not thinkers. Now, exactly. I understand that.
But you're basically robots being set.
Exactly. So, given that case, I wouldn't set the bare minimum for my kids to go and focus on what they're teaching you at school, especially not past maybe middle school. I don't know. I mean, there's definitely some skills, some life skills that you need to know that you learn from school, like socializing and then basic math and reading and maybe physics and science and whatnot. But once it gets to, like, high school, they don't teach you much that you really need to know. It's all about passing tests.
Exactly.
It's all about meeting numbers and maintaining the school status quo.
And to be honest with you, it's like, to me, Okay, so this is why I hate high school. This is why I hate high school. And I'm being honest, it's just so problematic and dramatic for no reason. I think I would be better off without high school. But it wouldn't give the experience, my human experience. It wouldn't like, I feel like I wouldn't develop without it. And
I think we should make a high school more like trade school. But more trades or careers, more like a career school.
Exactly. There's a trade
Type
school
of
for
thing.
that thing. There's
Right.
trade schools for that.
Make high school like trade school of some sort. Then
And-
you have your social, you learn how to do work.
I must say, I feel like everybody would be such a hard worker. I feel like everybody would just have that quit mindset of, nah, I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like really arguing with you. I don't feel like doing, like, nah. Every single thing you're saying to me does not mean shit to me. Like, I want you to get out of my face. If you're not money, if you're not family, if you're not this and you're not that, you're not something I care about. I want you to back up right quick, because this is going to escalate more than it needs to. And you're actually thinking. You're very much thinking. So I feel like everything will be okay. I feel like every single body will have like that type of mindset where it's just like, you know what, I don't really need to do this. I don't really care for that. I'm not going to think that much about it. That's not what I care for. I got to see what's better for me. Let's see what's better for everything.
And once you start hitting high school age, all you really want is money. Money to buy stuff, like as an adult, to get a job, all that. So what this type of high school would set you up for is just an independent life. And some people starting at high school age need independent lives, or need to start being able to set themselves up for independent lives. And I feel like this would make the job market so much better. Like, people would actually be convinced to work while they're in their influenceable years.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Right. Every high schooler I knew wanted a job.
Exactly.
Just wanted to make money so you could buy games, buy a car, buy this, that, and the other, get your own apartment. And some people need that, especially at these ages.
Exactly. Parents always said that we had to live our lives, right?
Right.
Like, you're growing up too fast. You need to live your life. You gotta do this, do that. And when they be like, why you gotta settle down at such a young age? You're still a teenager. Go ahead and live. Go ahead and be about your day. You can't do that.
But I dare you to go ahead and live and go ahead and be about your day. I double dog dare you to do that.
That's gonna be like a deep ass drowning session. Like, I'm not gonna lie with you. That shit's gonna be sad, depressed. Like, you're gonna feel like you're literally drowning. Like, drowning your fucking fun, your thoughts, everything. You're gonna think everything is cool until it's not, because of the fact that you have nothing at the end. And you're gonna regret so much shit that you did in the past that affected your future. Oh my goodness. You're gonna oh my gosh. I'm 17 years old and I think that. Okay, like, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna feel it hard, especially when you sit down and realize the shit that you've been doing and how it's been affecting you in your present, going towards the future. You change you with you, me, myself, and I. That's literally it. That's all it will be. It's all it will be. If you keep on listen, you surround yourself with everybody, okay? You surround yourself with everybody that you want, because of the fact of how much they bring, how much joy they bring, how much benefit they bring as well, and how much you bring to the table.
Or the holes that they fill. Like,
And those are some big voids to fill.
for sure.
Big voids.
That's why it hurts so much to lose somebody, because they feel some type of void, they feel some type of hole. And even you yourself at this point create a bare minimum for them to fill that hole. And when it leaves, when they're gone, then it's hurtful. It's really hard. It's really tough. It's heartbreaking. And high school. Let's hop back on high school. Like, I just feel like this should happen. Like, make it more like a trade school than scholastic school, because at that age, that's when you stop paying attention. That's when all you want to do is work and learn your social skills.
Right.
And you want to eat. And if people start finding their interests this early, they know better.
That's a nice cleanup.
Or they have the opportunity to know better. So, yeah, going straight into what you want to go straight into while learning what you need to learn in order to start a successful life for yourself, I feel like that'll lead us down a way more successful road than where we're ending up now. Because I don't know how many kids end up dropping out of school and regretting it, or ended up on the streets, or choosing to live a life that they felt that they had to live in order to make money, because they needed to make money at such a young age, or whatever age this is. This is a very important age in someone's life.
Wow.
And doing this it'll make you better off as an adult, because you're more focused on yourself instead of starting relationships, or you're focused on getting money so you can set yourself up, and then you can get in a relationship with somebody else who went through the same thing scholastically, and then now you're both with a respectful, mature mindset, and then you can take the trips and you can build together and start businesses and make your own money and be more well off, be more successful as people. Like, we can make this world more successful. We can make this world easier living if we start with the scholastic system, and you learn to develop like the bare minimums, so-called. They'll be more fair than what they are now, honestly. Honestly, they'll be more fair than what they are now, because someone who isn't focused on school versus someone who is focused on school, them two in a relationship together, you can kiss bare minimums goodbye.
Seriously, man, that shit's out the window. I'm so sorry. That's out the window, bro.
You can't make time for me. You can't do this for me. You're always studying.
Listen, if you ain't got no pain, you ain't got no gain. What we talking about? Listen, okay. If a person complains about that, listen, you can make time. But if they're actually interfering with your works, if they're actually interfering with your self-growth, your self-development, everything that you actually strive for, and they're interfering with that because of their own feelings, instead of validating your feelings towards something that you actually care about, it won't work. It won't work.
And it should be your bare minimum for them to just respect the fact that you're studying, or respect the fact that you have school and you have things to do, that you're trying to set yourself up and possibly them for a future.
Exactly.
And they should have this same fire lit under their asses to get somewhere.
Like I said, you have to navigate yourself. You have to navigate your final destination before you even meet that person. Let this be known. You can't have a whole relationship based on one person. That's not a relationship. You want to feel me? That's not a relationship. You could have been talking to me, myself, and I, like I said.
That's a pet and ownership.
And you're talking to a wall right now. Let you know. You're not. She's not hearing you. He's not hearing you. You literally have to understand. You need yourself before you need that other person, because yourself can give you way more than the other person can. They can give you half of another thing. They can't give you the full fucking thing. You fill that void. Mm-hmm. You find the source. You find the resolution. Okay? You find everything.
Or you close that void. You heal. You do something. But put yourself first. Put your mental first. Put your physical first. And your physical and mental go hand in hand. And set a higher standard for yourself. Especially if you're being met with these unreal, unfair...
Bro, what is micro dating? No, I'm sorry, what's micro cheating? Please tell me.
Micro cheating? What the fuck?
What is micro cheating? No, I saw it TikTok, just like, you're micro cheating.
Micro cheating? Oh,
what is micro cheating?
Okay, we'll get into that. We'll get into that next podcast.
Bro.
Micro cheating.
Seriously, what are
yeah, if you're with somebody with unreal, stupid, unrealistic standards that they call bare minimums, or when they undermine all the things that you've done and said and changes that you've made and they call it bare minimum, then please rethink your situation.
Yes.
And hold higher standards for yourself.
There. And before even that, like, listen, guys, listen, you guys make yourselves amazing, okay? You are amazing. You have to say that even when you're at your lowest. You're amazing. Because if you're depressed, right? If you're depressed, you're going to be at your lowest. Okay, understandable. You're going to be at your lowest. You're going to want to hit rock bottom, drink, da-da-da, shit.
Fall to your vice.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. But, my friends, what they say, heal with her.
Heal with him. help them, build each other. And that is all for this session today. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, indeed.
Once
Appreciate
again,
your time.
I am Cali-Ny. This is Thinking Out Loud, and I am with
Ali, peace and mind.
Ali, peace and mind. You guys have a beautiful morning, noon, or night, whatever time you're listening today.
Exactly.
All right.
See ya.
See ya.
Don't